This company is licensed and has a licensed arborist. In fact, he is the licensed arborist on site right now. Okay, which means that he is trained in taking care of trees. All right, and knows.
Cut my tree
Hold
down.
on. He's on the property line attending to a tree that he doesn't want to have any issues with. That is your opinion. If someone was committing a crime, then
She's probably cooling off, right, or whatever.
No.
I don't think she'd hop over the fence.
Hello everybody and welcome back to another Middlesex tree video, and today is going to be a good one. We got the cops called on us today. Yep, that's right. The cops got called on us today for an absolutely ludicrous reason. This neighbor, who has been causing issues around this neighborhood for many years, has no clue about the laws for trimming up trees. Even a thorough explanation from the policeman would not make her satisfied. When the customer made the phone call to Middlesex Tree to have this job done, the topic was brought up right away that the neighbor would certainly be calling the police because she's that type of person. And she certainly did. And we've got the footage to show you. Not only our footage, but body cam footage. Derek has done this before and knows exactly what he's doing when it comes to trimming up trees that are growing on one person's property but hanging over another person's property. The customer that we are working for today is tired of having debris fall on their house as well as their cars, and there's also a lot of dead branches up here that will cause damage in the future, and they want them gone. Let's watch the video and see how everything plays out.
That's all dead?
Yep.
Happens over there, dead and hollow.
Yeah, okay, I need a picture of that one.
We'll make sure we get a picture of that.
What?
Well, I'm sure we could see it in the camera, but they literally, when these people had that tree removed, she called the cops on them. That's who we're dealing with. We don't like to prune this way, but Karen next door literally called the cops on them for cutting down their own tree. The stump is right there. So she freaks out, comes out screaming every time they're pruning over the line. The gutter was all clogged up with the flowers. I'll blow that valley off for him, but all right, this thing's gonna get cut way back to there, so. I got a GoPro on. My GoPro can see it all.
Yeah, so my question to you is, if you get any branches that you see that are dead,
Oh, I took it. There's a ton of dead in there.
so I need...
Listen, there's gonna be a video, bro. Oh yeah, she's running. Come on, Frank. Is she cursing? He's got the camera right on her.
Cutting over his property. We're right on the line, on the fence line.
That's my tree. You don't cut my tree down without talking to me.
Keep going.
There's trucks parked on my grounds.
So the tree, do you think it damaged the tree?
I think they're trespassing.
Okay.
And they're cutting down my property. I mean, this isn't the first time they've done that.
Well, tree limbs which go onto someone else's property, they have the right to have them removed.
It wasn't hanging over. They were on my side.
Their property, they can cut it. That's why I asked if
Yeah,
it's
they
damaged,
weren't.
because they can't damage the trees.
Yeah, it looks fine to me.
Yeah.
Hi. Step
Yeah.
over here just because it's loud.
No, let's go inside,
Oh, okay, sure.
unless you object.
No, I'm all about it.
You're all about it? Good.
They're-
No, my sister hired them.
They're here with permission.
They're here with permission, and they're going right along the property line, which I guess the statutes allow that.
Correct.
So we did a lot of research on it. The problem is that the trees are hanging over.
Correct.
They're dumping all kinds of stuff onto the roof of the house,
I can see that.
and they're also dumping, and all that stuff, all that red stuff. It wasn't just because of them. I have some photos before I came here today, and they're also dumping branches. Any windstorm that comes over here, and that alley, I call that a little alleyway there, this windstorm. So it's a safety issue. The gentleman, by the way, said this hickory tree over here that's leaning this way is dead.
Okay.
So she's going to get a certified letter about that.
Okay.
Because obviously if there's an issue, there's an issue. But yeah, no, as long as, I told them, property line only, don't go beyond the property line. And, yeah,
From how it looks to me,
yes, sir.
they abided by what looks to me like a property line.
Well, that's what they were instructed to do.
Yep, they did it.
He's actually a certified arborist.
Yes, I know the company has
Oh,
an
okay.
arborist, so I respect the fact that what they are doing, they're
Yeah.
doing with someone who's licensed to do
I mean,
so.
we're paying quite a bit.
Yes, you are.
We're not getting,
No,
Jack
you
and
have
Jill.
a legitimate tree
Yeah,
service company
exactly,
here.
exactly.
What's your name, sir?
It's-
So I don't see any issues. I see no problems. If this was a problem, it wouldn't be a criminal problem from how I'm looking at it. Two things that something like this could fall into a criminal element is a trespassing complaint, which would be someone knowingly going onto someone else's property.
And I told them, because there is a tree in the back that I want done, but the only way is to scale it. And I said,
It's not worth it.
out. I said, it's out.
So I don't see any issues of a trespass complaint. The other would be like criminal mischief, which is like the intentional destruction of someone's
No.
property. As a property owner, trees, branches which come onto your property or hang over your property are your requirement to take care of. The tree itself is the requirement of the property owner.
Right.
So that tree comes down and crushes, you have a civil liability against them.
Right.
So I don't see any
Well,
issues.
she's going to receive a letter from the attorney.
Okay. So I don't see any issues with criminal mischief. I don't see any issues with trespassing. The only thing is she's not going to be happy with whatever you guys are doing. Thinks that she's in the right, then she can do as she pleases
Do as she pleases.
through a civil matter, but this
Yep.
is not a police matter.
Yep.
And the report will
And
reflect
by
that.
the way, officer, I'm going to go outside, but I refuse to speak to her.
That's fine.
I just want to let you, just a little bit of background.
Sure, I would love that.
You love
Yep.
background? Okay, cool.
I love to know the people.
So if you look out where she's standing right now, you see this tree trunk?
Yes.
So the prior owner to my sister chopped that down. She called the police on him.
I believe that.
On his property, she called the police.
Okay.
And threatened him with arrest.
So,
He just cut that branch right there. That is over the line.
okay. So, this company is licensed and has a licensed arborist. In fact, he is the licensed arborist on site right now. Okay, which means that he is trained in taking care of trees. All right, and knows.
He can cut my tree
Hold on.
down.
I know you got to talk, you got to speak. I'm just going to tell you my observations and how this is being handled. Now, you have an opinion on the trees. You feel that they have gone into the space and have
Right.
cut beyond what you feel is your
Yes.
property line.
Yes.
What I would say is, I don't know that to be true, okay? Now, I understand that these stakes are here on this portion and that you believe that they went too far in and they cut the branches. What I would say, okay, is that this is not a criminal matter
I know it's not a criminal matter,
at all.
but it's a trespassing matter.
It's not a trespassing matter, okay?
Right.
There's only two things that this could really be in the eyes of law enforcement, which would be a trespassing complaint
Yes.
or criminal mischief. It's not criminal mischief because they're not doing any harm or damaging of trees, okay? And it's not a trespass complaint because not a single person has stepped foot onto your property, okay? They're not going
They're
into
hovering over my property.
they're hovering over your property to do it safely due to whatever the mechanism that they
Then
have
you
to do.
ask your neighbor. You don't. If you come into somebody's yard without
I'm
their
not
permission,
disputing that, but I'm not the neighborly police. I'm the regular police.
If you come into somebody's yard without their permission, it's trespassing.
Correct.
He's in my property now.
Well, that's just your opinion. I'm going to say he's not in your property.
He
He's
is.
on the property line attending to a tree that he doesn't
he's
want to
in
have
my
any issues
property.
with. That is your opinion. So what I would recommend that you do is, because this is a civil issue, is if you have a problem, is do as they are doing and record the situation and hire an attorney and present a suit against the company or present a suit
Well,
against
not
your
against
neighbor.
these people. It's against.
Well,
Wouldn't be against these people.
they were given specific instructions not to go beyond what
But they are.
is their property.
But they are.
Okay. But again, that was the instructions that they were given, and I trust in an arborist knowing how to safely tend to a tree and care for a tree so that he doesn't cause it unnecessary damage.
So he's allowed to come in my property.
He's not coming on your property.
He was just on my property.
He is on your property no more than if someone was flying a drone in the air.
Which is also not legal.
It is legal. There's nothing against the law for that. People
Gonna
are allowed.
drop these in my yard too, and that's
Well,
okay.
branches fall. Branches do fall, and if you
That
want,
he cut and he put there.
and if you want, and you want them to pick up any branches that broke off as a
I
result
want
of
them
their
not
work,
on my property.
well, then they can't really pick up the branches then, right?
They shouldn't be cutting down my tree.
Well, it's not your tree per se.
Yes,
the,
it is.
The tree itself is,
No, it
but
is
anything,
exactly my tree.
anything which goes beyond is not yours. Any branch that comes onto their property is their responsibility
That
to take care
branch
of.
right there that he cut is not over the line.
I'm looking right here. Everything right there. He could go all the
That
way
one,
up.
That one. Over here.
Which one?
When your fellow officer was standing here with me, this one right here.
The dead one?
No, he cut a branch off of that. It's not dead. He cut those branches
That one right
off.
there. It looks like it's exactly on the line.
No, this one.
I see it right here. The jagged part right there comes
no,
out.
it's over here. It
I
doesn't
don't.
go over the line because he cut it.
I don't.
Hold on.
Again, this I don't see as being at all a criminal issue. I don't even think it's a civil issue, but if you wish to make it a civil issue, then you can do so.
It is.
But I trust in this guy knowing what he is doing and what he is licensed to be allowed to do. That you're not the first people to have an issue over a tree or a property line in the state of Connecticut or in the country.
To the left of where he is, he cut that one. You can see where it's cut off.
Okay.
That's in my property.
I'm not seeing it, but
Because
okay.
you don't want to.
What do you mean I don't want to?
Every
Now
time
you're
I call
making-
you guys.
Yeah,
Every
well,
time.
You're
The
making
guy-
an assumption
the
about
guy-
me.
The guy,
I've never even met you.
the last time the officer was out here,
There's
they're
not.
over the line and you're not calling up for trespassing, and they're parked on my grass.
They're not over the
And
line.
the
They're
other
not on your.
officer-
Where are they on your grass?
They're on my grass.
They're not on your grass.
They're parked on my grass.
They're-
The officer said he was going to have them move the car.
Oh, then maybe they already did move it. But
They
what?
didn't.
I don't
Didn't
see.
even tell him.
I don't see anywhere where they're parked on your grass.
They're
I
parked
may
on
be
my-
parked a little bit on your grass from when I came
They're
in,
parked
but
on my grass. He's now cutting over the line.
that is your opinion. I don't see him doing so. And again, if you feel that he is encroaching too far and that he is making mistakes, then document it and handle it. But he's not trespassing onto your property and he's not destroying your trees.
He is destroying my tree.
Well,
That's going to kill the tree.
It's not, he's a licensed arborist. You're not a licensed arborist. You know nothing about trees in comparison to his education. He's licensed. He knows more about trees than I know, and I would trust that someone who has to maintain a certification and operate within a commercial space.
He's being paid. He'll do whatever he's being paid for.
You think he's intentionally destroying your tree for money?
No, I think he's doing what what he's being paid for.
Yes, and he will do so that he can maintain his certification and not lose his license as a business.
That is over the line. That is over the line.
I don't see how you automatically know that it is over the line based on it going up into the air. And what I would also say is he is taking care of a branch which came over the line and he's cutting it in a manner which is safe for the tree.
It's not safe for my tree.
Well, that's your opinion. And I know you're not going to agree with anything I say.
It's my tree.
I understand that the tree itself is on your property, but they are allowed to cut branches.
On their property.
Yes.
This is not on their property.
The tree,
Where he is right now is on his property.
the branch was on his property. Now it is
cut
not.
over to my property.
He probably cut, even if that was true, which I'm not saying it is because I can't tell where the property line goes up into space, okay?
You
But-
can. You don't want to.
Okay, well you're making assumptions about me,
Well,
but
you're
that's
making
fine.
assumptions.
I'm not making assumptions. All I said was that I don't believe that you would know about trees as much as an arborist. And you're right. Is that an assumption?
You made an
No.
assumption about, you can't tell because it's up in the air. You can.
No, you're telling me that I know something when you can't tell me that I know something. That's what I'm telling you. So you can believe that that's across the line, and I'm not going to dispute that you believe that and that that is your interpretation. But you are not going to get me to agree upon something that I cannot say for myself that that is the case. So you may not be wrong, but I am not going to come to the same agreement with you.
You can see that it is, and you don't want to say it.
Well, why?
It was the
Why?
same thing last time. When it was like the tree was...
But you're holding me responsible because you didn't
No,
like
it's
the
the
way
same-
something was
it's the
handled
same-
by my department for a
Yes.
completely separate instance.
No, it's the same thing.
It's not the same thing. We're talking about a property line where I don't believe that this qualifies as it being a violation of trespassing. versus someone who you said came feet onto your property
And you came
physically to
and
remove
you also
it.
came when they
No,
had to cut the rock.
you continue to
right
say
here.
me as
You
an organization.
represent
You're
the
right, I
police
do represent the police department,
Yes,
and
you do.
in doing so, I also represent the people of the town.
I don't feel represented.
Well, I'm sorry
by-
that you
by
feel
the
that way.
town.
I'm sorry that you feel that way.
I don't, and I haven't. Anytime I've had people trespassing on my property.
Well, again, you use the word trespassing as if it's your interpretation of trespassing, but just because you feel that it's
It's
trespassing
a law.
doesn't mean.
It's not open to interpretation.
The
There's
law
a
is completely open to interpretation. That's why people practice the law, because it requires you to interpret the law in order to make sure someone is guilty of something or not. I don't work in the realm of guilt or not guilt. I work in the realm of probable cause, which means that there are facts and circumstances that would lead a reasonable officer to believe that someone has committed a crime. And if it's not within the letter of the crime, then the crime was not committed, or I don't have enough to prove that a crime was committed. So while you may...
Well, you could tell him, don't go over the line.
That's right. They've already been instructed not to go over the property line.
He did it right in front of your face, and he did it in front of the
He
other
moved
officer's
his
face.
barrel across it, yes, but I don't believe he is intentionally cutting anything going beyond any line. And I'm not going to tell him that he can't go to a space to say protected from a power line in order to do his job. And if you don't like how he's doing his job, then you should file a civil lawsuit against the company.
I don't want them in my property.
They're not in your property.
And I don't want them damaging my property.
I don't want them to either.
And I'm looking over here, and I'm seeing that they cut things that were over there.
I understand that's not, but that's the way it works, unfortunately. Is that the police don't have a say in this other than to say it's not criminal.
I should feel that when I call the police to protect me and protect my property, that I feel protected, and I don't.
It take on a role that the police is not governing.
No, I know. That's what I'm saying. The police have never supported us.
Well, you say that, but you're asking us to do something that's not a law enforcement function.
Yes,
That's
it
like
is.
me asking my mechanic to come to my house and fix my pool.
No, it isn't.
It is exactly the
No, it
same.
isn't.
And then say that
It's
they're not there to
asking
help.
you to protect my property.
I
from
am protecting your
trespassers.
property from trespassing. Not a single person since I've been here has marched onto your property or come onto your property without your permission. And you've made that position quite clear.
They have.
I haven't seen anyone walk on your property.
I didn't say walk on my property.
You're saying that he elevated himself to a position above your property to cut a
and
tree
is-
branch.
And is cutting my tree.
And I would
on
say
my-
that that's not necessarily trespassing.
They should have asked me.
Well, no,
if
they're recording because they have a channel and they post all their jobs that they do
No, it's
on
he hired-
YouTube.
No, it's not his. That's not his person.
That's his person. That's with the tree company.
He asked for that.
Who?
He asked for it to be recorded. The woman who owns the house, because she knew what she was doing was
Well,
not
he
right.
may have authorized the recording, but they record a lot of the jobs that they do. And you know what? Maybe it is also to protect them against frivolous lawsuits, but they also do so because it helps with their publicity. And I'm not a part of their business model, so I don't know if it's beneficial or not,
Well, I'm gonna
but they
post
think
it.
it is.
I'm going to post it on Facebook too.
There you go. And you can. It's your right as a citizen to do so.
I am.
Okay.
What they did was wrong.
Okay, so continue to document it, and then if you feel that they have committed a civil penalty, then you'll have to bring it up through small claims court. You have to get a tort and bring up some type of civil litigation against them. But this isn't a crime.
It doesn't have to be a small claims court.
I don't know civil law. But even more, I'm telling you, I'm the criminal guy.
And this is criminal.
This is not criminal.
They're trespassing. That's criminal.
It's not trespass.
It's trespassing.
And if you want them to clean up, they can. I'm sure they will, with your
All these
permission.
branches
If you
that they
want them
struck,
to,
I don't want them in my
then,
yard.
then they can't pick them up. So it's like you either want them to clean up or you don't want them to clean up. It can't be both. Again, for the third time, I will do that.
My police department to protect me.
But no, you're not asking for protection. You're asking for us to enforce something that is not a police matter, and then you're unhappy because we're treating it as though it's a civil matter. And you want me to treat it as though it's a criminal matter.
No, I'm not asking you to blur the lines. I'm saying that when they were over the line, which they were a bunch of times, that you call them on it.
I'm not going to call them on it because I don't know that. We're going to be leaving shortly.
Yeah.
You stay just to keep everything calm and collected,
I stay until I feel that my services have been rendered.
and your services have
She's
been
probably
rendered?
cooling off, right? Or whatever.
No.
I don't think she'd hop over the fence. I mean, I don't think she's coming over
No, I don't
here.
believe she will. So
Yeah, I don't think so
her
either.
biggest point of contention is your movement of the boom, and that because your boom crossed what she perceived to be the property line,
gotcha.
that she feels that you have now encroached upon a part of the tree that is not hers. Now, as I expressed to her,
Yeah,
me not being a licensed arborist or having any experience in tree maintenance or tree care, and then two, my basic understanding of how the law works. What we are dealing with here is something that's outside of the criminal purview.
right.
This
Yeah,
is
it's a civil
matter.
suit. Yeah, 100%.
So I don't think that there is at all a time criminally that you went onto her property.
Right.
Nor do I think that you moving about a portion of space
In the air, yeah.
to maneuver in a
You're right.
safety area based on the fact that there is a power line right here and you
Yep.
need to ensure that you don't come into contact with it.
Yep.
I feel that you haven't done anything wrong.
Good.
That doesn't necessarily mean that you haven't done something civilly liable.
Yeah,
on her
yeah,
end,
yeah.
But that's out of my purview.
Yeah, 100%.
So I just want you to understand that me being here
Yep.
and my other officer being here,
Yep.
we're here because we were called for a trespass complaint.
Sure.
We have deemed it not to be a criminal trespass.
Yep.
And we've deemed that you have committed nothing that would indicate criminal mischief or any intentional harm to anything.
Yep.
In the event that anything is damaged, a branch falls on the fence or whatever,
Yep.
I expressed to her that nothing appears, in my opinion,
Yep.
that you guys are intentionally doing so.
Yep.
You never displayed anything to be reckless enough where I'd say that it was even recklessly done. But she may have an issue with it, and I told her if she has a problem, the company
Civil
is
matter.
insured and licensed, and she can go
Yep.
through that.
Yep.
She may not be happy with that, but that's what she was
Yeah.
expressed. So now you know what she was told, and you know what my stance is on it. Do you have any
Appreciate
questions?
you. Nope.
All right, you guys are all set.
Thanks.